Hello, guys. I hope you're doing well. So today we'll be discussing basically tips on how to handle physics paper one. And here in front of me we have the physics grade 12 November, which is last year's question paper for November. So we're just using it as an example as to things. After the things I'll show you this question paper as proof on how to apply them. So now let's start with so question one. Now paper one. So paper one for physics we have 150 marks. Now 150 marks, if you for physics you write two papers, so that's paper one and paper two. That's 300 marks in total. So passing rate, I think from to pass from grade 10 until grade 12, that's 30%. So 30% of 300 marks, that's 90 out of 300. Now, at least to get 90, if you get 45 in each paper, to get 45 in one paper, that's 30%. So that means you need to get the 45 marks in out of 150. If you get 45 marks, that's 30%. Now, we're not aiming for 30%, we're obviously aiming for higher. But here I'm just gonna give you tips on how to acquire the pass. So basically acquire the pass without even having written anything yet, without even got into stuff yet. Now question one. Now your question one, that's your multiple choice. Your question one, that's your multiple choice. Now in your multiple choice, it's 10 questions. That's 20 marks. Now, truthful is that in multiple choice basically it's an outline of all the topics that are on the question paper in question one. And multiple choice, as you know, it's multiple choice, so you just choose from A to B, A to D. Now remember, once you start writing an exam, it means you have 3 hours to write an 150 marks paper. So meaning every time you spend on that question paper matters, because you don't want when they say time's up and you are still, question paper has quite 10 questions, and when they say time's up and you're still in question 8, because if you do that question 8, what about question 9 and question 10? You haven't even attempted question 9 and question 10, so you've already lost marks from question 9 and question 10 without even having gotten there. So you see, it becomes a problem. So now one thing you should make sure is to not spend a lot of time on one question. Do not spend a lot of time on one question. Even if you know that, oh, this question I know, I've studied it, but I just can't remember it, go to the question that you remember and you will come back to it. You will remember it afterwards. But don't spend a lot of time thinking about what you forgot and then you neglect other questions. Now, I think this you've all had before, but now we're gonna. So now what I would advise with question one is to, because it requires a lot of time, if you don't want to, if you don't want to do it first, you can just skip it and go to question two. Start with question two and end with question one. Question one, even if it's about, let's say, 15 minutes left, and for exam question one, it's multiple choice, you just choose from A to D. Now obviously just choosing, you may not get the answers right. You might get few right and miss some, or you might not even get any. But it's 20 marks. Yes, it's a lot of marks, but don't spend a lot of time stuck on it, because a lot of people spend a lot of time stuck on question one, that by the time they reach question two, an hour is gone, or 30 minutes. So don't spend a lot of time on question one. Now question one is, now one thing about physics question paper is definitions. Remember your definitions. This I will say, I'll show you why now. So now said, remember your definitions. Now The reason I say remember your definition because your definitions are important. Now, definition is just screaming. This is just screaming and remembrance. It's all about memory. It's just remembrance. So we'll check why is the definition with this question paper. Now let's check this question paper. Now in this question paper, okay, we'll go. So pass question 1. Now let's start with first question. That's question 2. Second question, that's question 2. Question 2, 2.1, Newton's laws. Definition. First 2.1, that's definition. 2 marks. So that's 2 marks. Now, once you remember your definition, you have 2 marks in the box. And then we'll skip, go to question 3. Question 3, first question, 3.1. Definition. That's another 2 marks. Pass question 3. Question 4. 4.3. State the principle of conservation of linear momentum. Another 2 marks. That's already 6. That's already 6 marks. You already have 6 marks. Now, question 5. 5.3. State the work energy theorem. 8 marks. Now remember, we haven't even started writing that much. 6.1.1. State the Doppler effect. That's another 2 marks. Oh, and then you pass. Question 7, electric field. That's another 2 marks. And then you pass question 7. Question 8, state Ohm's law. 2 marks. Question 9, state the energy conservation that takes place. So that's your definition. So that's another 2 marks. Define the term root square current. That's another definition as well. That's another 2 marks. Define the term work function of a metal. Guys, do I even have to tell you again? That is also another 2 marks. And that is the end of our question paper. Yes. Okay, now we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. That's 20 marks. That's 20 marks from just definition. This is just memory. That means you get 20 marks from just the memory. This is 20 marks you only get from memory. Remember to pass paper 1 is what? It's out of 150, and you need 30% to pass, to secure pass. Now this is 45 marks. Now it means once you know your definition and you've read them and you memorize them well, you already have 20 marks in the box. Don't even have to negotiate about it. Now once you have that means out of this 45 marks, you minus 20. That means you're only left with 25 marks to secure pass. You already have 20 in a box. I mean, we haven't even started writing formulas. We haven't even calculated it. We haven't even got into the deep stuff. This is just definitions. This is only just 20 marks of definitions, nothing else. Now Obviously, not saying you should aim for 30%. You should always aim higher. Aim to get 50, aim for distinction, all those. But just saying 30% is pass mark. I'm just gonna give you tips on how to get to that, how to get that 45 marks. Now, 25 marks, and we only discuss definitions, right? We haven't gone to anything else. We only discuss definitions. So you got 20 marks out of only definitions. Okay. Now, also, now that we've gotten 20 marks, let's see where can we get the other 25 marks. Now, looking at question 1, no, not question 1, question 2, where they say question 2, that's Newton's, draw a free body label diagram. Now, free body label diagram, the mark allocation always indicates the number of forces that you're gonna have. We did this on the Newton's video, and I explained how to draw a free body diagram. Now, free body diagram, once you get it right, you're already halfway through your answer, because once you get a free body diagram right, it means you are halfway there to getting your final answer. Because once you have the free body diagram right, it's easy to get the answer right. Because once you have the free body diagram wrong, you get it's same to get the answer wrong, because free body diagram is a guide. Now, when you're on the free body diagram, now look, I want to show you something. Now, after the free body diagram, the question always is calculate tension in a string force. Now, is what I wanna. Now we know one thing. In Newton's laws, we know one thing. In Newton's laws, the formula F net is equals to ma works. It always works. This is Newton's laws. Newton's laws, F net is equals to ma. Now, before we even start calculating, before we even start substituting, we can get marks also of formulas, remembering the correct formula for the correct topic and writing it down. For example, 2.3.1, they calculate the tension in the string. If I write F net is equals to ma, that's my F net is equals to ma. That's only a formula, and this formula is also on the formula sheet. So you're just taking what's on the formula sheet and putting it there. You secure yourself a mark. So you already got 1 mark. You haven't even started substituting. You just wrote a formula. You just wrote something that you have on the question paper, because they give you a formula sheet. So you have it on the formula sheet, and you just write it there. Substitute. You just putting it there, and you get an answer. I mean, you get a mark. Now we'll go through. Okay. Now that's a mark for question 2.3.1 for just writing a formula. Now let's go to question 3. Question 3, also 3.2, you also write a formula, because that's where you calculate. And easy, I can just write, if I write a formula, you get a mark. And 3.3.1, write a formula, you get a mark. 3.3.2, write a formula, you get a mark. So guys, that's like 3 marks just off of question 3. That's 3 marks off of question 3 without even having written anything. Remember, we haven't even written anything. As in, we haven't calculated, we haven't substituted, we haven't had to use our calculators. We just wrote we take what's on the formula sheet, and we write it there. So I've already secured 3 marks plus 1 mark from question 4. That's 4 marks. Now, question 4.2, momentum. 4.2, momentum, the equation of momentum. Momentum initial is called momentum final, everything, that formula. And you get your mark, 5 marks. Get 4.4, same thing, momentum, still momentum, you write that formula, you get a mark. You go to question 5. go to question 5.1. Let me explain this. You go to question 5.1, you derive a label diagram. 5.4, you calculate the work energy formula. You get a mark. That's another mark in the bag. And also, now remember, on other questions you have sometimes you even have to use more than two formulas. You can use one formula to calculate this and you use second formula to calculate this. Now just write in those both formulas. That's 2 marks guaranteed on one question. Now sometimes even after you write the formula, even after the substitution is wrong, you still get your mark for the formula. So don't miss those marks. Don't, when you see a question and you see that it's time to attempt it, don't just leave it blank. Attempt it. Now writing a formula, that's a mark, so don't miss it. Now you're still looking. Now question 6.1.6.1.2, you calculate, that's a mark. Question 7.3, a mark. Question 7.4, a mark. Question 8.2.1, a mark. 8.2.2, a mark. 9.2.2, a mark. 9.2.3, 9.2.3, a mark. We go to question 10. 10.1.2, a mark. 10.1.3, a mark. So now, when you've done all this, after you've calculated wrote all the formulas for this, now guys, remember, we've even substituted. And out of all these questions, if you take all the writing formulas in this question paper, you get approximately, remember I said in some formulas you will, remember I also said that in some formulas you would use more than two formulas in one set. So, but if it happens that other formulas, because you only use one, get your 1 mark. As I said, in others you use more than two. Now this is 17 marks. This is plus or minus. This is plus or minus 17 marks. Plus or minus 17 marks. So meaning out of your formulas, you could even get a 20 out of your formulas. Now, once you've gotten that, remember we took out 20 from the formula, the definitions, right? Now, once after we took that 20 from the definitions, we're left with 25. So 25 minus another 20, because we said it's plus or minus, you can get that. You get your 5. So that means we're only left with 5 marks to pass. 5 marks, only 5 to get out with 5 marks to pass. We haven't even done anything. As I said, we haven't even used that much of anything. We just took the formulas, because it's not like these formulas you had to cram them. We took the formulas that were there on the formula sheet, you put them there. And after putting those formulas there, you get a mark. We took we cram the definition, which requires memory. It requires to cram. You cram those definitions and you put them there. That's a mark. Now, you're only left with 5 marks. Imagine, out of the 45 marks that we wanted, we got 40 from not calculation. We didn't calculate anything. We didn't even have to raise our calculator or use it. Now, once you get the 5 marks, this is to get the 5 marks. Either get the 5 marks from your multiple choice. But you can, before attempting even other questions, get your 5 marks for multiple choice. Multiple choice are 20 marks. 20 marks. Even if you get 8 out of 4 right, you still get 8 marks. You pass, you way past 45. It means from then on, you are not just. It means from then on, you've secured a pass on this paper, and you just adding to the mark. it means you're adding the percentage. You're at 30%, you're going to 40, 50, 60, even a distinction on that paper. So that is just adding to it. But you got all those little marks from not even having to use that much effort, didn't have to substitute, not even have to use your calculator. All required, the other one required was memory, the other one required was to just take the take the formula sheet from the take the formula from the formula sheet and put it on the question and write it down, and there get a free mark. Now, while this, guys, doesn't mean that you should just not prepare for question paper, or not read, or not study for your physics. You need to study. You need to be able to understand. You need to be able to understand even your let's say your, what is it, equations of motion. Take equations of motion. Vf squared is equals to v initial squared plus 2a delta y. Now, in terms of question 2, you need to understand which direction you take, and when to write, when to use a negative acceleration, at which direction, when you've chosen which direction. You need to understand all those. Now, it's important to understand all those. So now, while even though it's important to understand concepts, but I was just showing you a few tips that you could use to get marks before even getting to the concept, before even trying to substitute. Now remember, this we didn't even draw. We didn't even have to get off the free body diagrams that we draw throughout the question paper. This was not, we didn't include free body diagrams. Now if you include free body diagrams, that's more marks. So meaning you can pass this paper, and the rest that will be left, it will be to add to your mark, to add to that mark. Now also, one thing also to add to that mark would be your, it's important to understand the concepts. It's important to understand the topics, like questions like question 6, the Doppler effect. Now question 6, the Doppler effect, it doesn't change much if you check even question papers throughout. It doesn't change that much. Once you understand the concept, once you have the formula and you know how to substitute, you just press your calculator, you get the answer, you get those full marks. Easy. Now it's straightforward. Now it's important to capitalize on such questions. Question 8, like 2 seconds, we've been doing the questions that you know can get marks, questions that they don't change that much. It's important to capitalize on them and get as many marks as you can, so that when you reach those challenging questions, even if you lose marks, other ones will boost it. If from what we just calculated, to get 50% out of a 150 paper, 150 paper, to get a, what is it, 50%, to get 50% of it, so that is your 50%. That's half of this marks, so that will be your 75. Now if you've gotten to 45, and I think from 45 to 75, that's about 30 marks. Now once you have your 45, remember guys, it's not ideal to work on 45, because if you aim for 45 marks, it means if you aim for a 30% pass, you are at a higher risk of failing the paper, because if you aim for that 45, if you drop, it means you'll drop lower than that. So it's important to aim high, because remember, if you know very well that you kind of stuck with question 2, paper 2, and you're good with paper 1, make sure you get as many marks in paper 1, so that when question 2 comes, if something happens, it's still able to boost paper 1. Because if you try to get let's say you try to get 45 marks in each. What happens if you get 45 marks in question 1 and then you go and get the same in question 2? What happens? Then you fail. So it's not ideal to aim for 30% for level 2. That level 3, that's your 40%, level 4, 50%, level 5, 60, and so on. Now, can aim for distinction because once the tips that I've applied only can even get you up to level 2. That means get you guarantee a pass, but you will have to understand the concept and understand other things to get higher marks than that. Now, as I explained, questions like momentum, straightforward. Momentum, even after you substitute from just substituting, can get more marks from just substituting. So guys, one thing I would advise, do not leave the questions blank. Do not leave the questions blank. Do not leave the questions blank, because if a question like momentum has 4.2 has 4 marks, it means 1 mark you're gonna get from the formula, 2 marks from substitution, and 1 mark for the answer. Now you see, just substituting, even if you happen to press your calculator wrong while calculating, even if you get that, but you got 2 marks for the right substitution, that's another 2 marks in the back. It means we already secured 45. You're already adding to that 47, 48. You are reaching for 50. You are reaching for 75. You are going higher, so that way you get more marks. So yeah. Now guys, it's important to study, important to understand the concept, important to know how to apply something, because just writing formulas just secure the marks, but it's not what the tips that I just gave are not the way for you to become lazy and be like, okay, now I'll just do what you said. I'll just read the formulas, I'll just read the definitions, and know when to write a certain formula, and then that will be all, and I'll just substitute. Even if I substitute wrong, it's fine. No, you need to aim to know how to understand something and how to tackle answers. Guys, if you question 2 newtons, minimax, question momentum, minimax, make sure you are able to capitalize and get the right answer, because that's the only way you're gonna aim for higher marks. No, don't settle for 45, don't settle for level 2, but just tips on how to get to that. Just this, because this is without even any effort, without even understanding the concept, just going into it, knowing that question 2, that's Newton, F net is equals to ma, projectile motion, question 3, so that means equations of motion, question 4, momentum, okay, p initial is equals to p final, okay, just memorize. It means this is just all memory. Electric circuits, calculate current, knowing the EMF formula, knowing the current formula. See, knowing when this, that's why it's important to understand the concept, because sometimes you might even write a formula where it's not needed, write a formula that doesn't belong there, because when you understand the concept, once you read the question, be like, okay, calculate this, you will know which formula is needed. So it's important to understand the concept, it's important to study. Now, what I would advise is that obviously study, but also capitalize on the things that you know more. So don't spend time in things that you're struggling with and forget the ones that you know. I know some of you might have even heard this a 1,000 times, being told that start with the ones you know, which it works, guys. Make sure that the ones which you know you can get marks, so that you secure those marks, so that even if it happens, even if you run out of time, but you know you've secured marks, rather than spend a lot of time on something and lose even those marks that you could have gotten, and after you get out of the exam you're like, I should have done this, I should have done this. Remember, I should have won't really help at that time. So capitalize on it while there's still time. And that's the tips I wanted to share with you guys. I think that's all for me. I just want to wish the great mathematics good luck. and we trust and we hope and we are praying for you, and know that you will do well. Just keep on doing what you're doing, keep on studying, keep on putting the work. Yeah, just remember, it's only a month, not even less than a month, okay, let's say a month for duration of your exam. So just at least suffer for this month, and December will come and you will be able to relax, and you will know that your suffering wasn't in waste, because at least you'll be able to enjoy December and wait for January. Now, if you don't work and try to relax, you won't spend your December so well, because you'll be stressing about results. So it's important, study, and I'll see you guys next time. I think I might even do one for physics paper 2. So I'll see you guys next time.